Jangu International, a world where disadvantaged youth unleash their potential for positive change as social entrepreneurs. A world for creativity, arts, community, impact, and opportunities.
Turn their challenges into opportunities.
Welcome to an inspiring episode on the Bisa platforms, and this is your girl Betty Saibantu here, where passion, values, and environment comes to life. If you see my background is Jangu International. It's a very inspiring story, and you need to be intrigued. I'm live in Uganda. Okay, we are at the Sina facility. We are the change we want to see. It's a beautiful facility with a lot of inspiration, where they bring in refugees, where they teach them to create impact in their communities, just taking waste from the environment, using it and generating income for communities. It's not beautiful? It's beautiful.
My name is Davis Sotenga. I'm a scholar at Jangu International. I joined Jangu International last year in February. After I couldn't further my education, as it is part of our story at Jangu International, that we started in a situation in 2014 where youth couldn't further their education, but also couldn't find employment opportunities. From a situation after our founder had supported orphans go to school after they couldn't further it, he had to fundraise with family, friends back in Germany to better solicit funds to support them go further their education. After their 16 years in school, they couldn't find employment, and then he didn't want them to further or go for university, because it was the same issue that the education system was so theoretical that it couldn't empower anyone to start up something on their own. So from that situation, we wanted to challenge the challenges that were existing, one which was the competition in the employment industry. And then how could one do that? It was basically that one has to turn the challenges they are going through into the opportunities they desire to see. We are going to be moving, and I will be showing you where I started from. By staying in the government houses that you passed by when we arriving. Basically, 2014 from there, settling in one government houses, scholars in one, and facilitators in one. And from there, we desire to have a space that accommodates all of us, not living separately. And then that's where we had to buy or purchase this land. And it was empty without anything. And then from there, the first thing on ground was the container that you can see, as it has the logo of SINA, meaning Social Innovation Academy. Why the word Social Innovation Academy? It came from what people thought of what we do and how we live. When our founder was moving around asking different people what they think about what we do, they had to say it is a social space. Since we welcome everyone, have innovative ideas, and then academy looks out to empower and educate the marginalized communities. From 2014, we wanted to privilege on the challenges that we were going through. One challenge was that amongst the orphans, Mama John Mary, before he became an orphan, he had one person in life who was a grandmother. So one day, they were living in a temporary house. Since they couldn't afford the building materials, when it was earthquake time, this house had to collapse. This was due to that it was just of timber, mud, and also granite. So when it collapsed, it hit Kavuma's grandmother, and that's how Kavuma became an orphan. So Kavuma John Mary wanted to challenge that situation of the expensive building materials into something. That's why he realized that plastic could be the opportunity that could be privileged on. And that's where we arrived to the plastic bottle. Looking at plastic being available in the community, Mama John Mary ideated and looked for which ideas could fit in that. That is where he collected soil around and then compacted into the bottles to have the plastic bottle brick to replace the expensive bricks. And then utilizing the sand that was also available in the swamps and also incorporating in cement. So one has not to spend on the brick, which is the bottle, and also the soil, but only has to spend on cement and the sand. Another thing about it, it has been tested to last for over 300 years. And ever since 2014, these structures have been standing, no renovation, no painting, no reinforcement, but they still stand. He has now developed an enterprise which is called Pendeza Shelters together with David Mande, and they are now building such houses in refugee communities, African countries that are interested in sustainable housing, and is really earning from it as a social entrepreneur. Another thing about this space is that after we looked at that, we wanted to also challenge other challenges, one which was still the old car tires that are not utilized by the car owners, but after they wear out, they get to dispose them off. After the car tires are disposed of, activities like the New Year's Eve celebration, mob justice, individuals use these car tires to do such activities. And when they are burnt, they release fumes. They also expose the ones around the area, also taking that smoke that is not really healthy enough. That's why we have our roof with car tires. And how we do that is that we collect those car tires that are not utilized, we cut them into pieces, and then we have to use them as iron sheets to replace that. So it is inconvenient, it is cheap, affordable, and also sustainable. The roof you're seeing is soundproof, that when it is raining, you won't notice if you're inside. And then if it is so hot outside, you won't be inconvenienced with the heat that comes from outside. So those are the purposes and also the benefits of using that roof. It can also be incorporated with your home. In case you're building a house at your place, you can just call them up, that is Upcycle Africa, and they can come and then do such a thing to your home. When we move on, okay.
So with this kind of roof, when I'm inside and it's very hot, like right now, if I'm inside that house, it will be cool.
Yeah.
It won't be very hot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is always cool whenever it is raining, whenever it is hot, the temperatures are normal. Yes.
Then the other thing I wanted to ask, what is the cost for a small house like this with such a roof? Estimate for me. Estimating. Yeah.
So about that roof, we used over 100 car tires. But the challenge about it is that when we bring in those old car tires, some have holes. So we always don't want to estimate that we shall use 50 car tires. But it depends with how they were affected or they were worn out, because we have to cut them into pieces, and then we don't have those pieces that have holes. We want to have the pieces that are in good shape and good format. But to estimate the car tires, we always buy them at 2,000 each in case we are buying them. But if we go to a dumping site, we just have to collect them at a free cost.
So if this is my small house, and I'm building my house, it's this size, but I would want this rubber roof. How much should I save?
How much should
before I come to you? Because I know you will cost me on this.
So the highest cost is on labor, and you can be charged 500
US dollars,
500,000 Uganda shillings on labor. And then incurring the transport, that is if your area does not have these disposed of car tires, we shall have to charge you transport depending on the distance. But mostly we want to look at the labor, which is the actual cost that we have set. But looking at the distance of how we can access these old car tires, if you have them at your place, then that is going to be more cheaper for you. Yes. The challenge we were trying to solve with this was the expensiveness of constructing a house. So when you put finishing, you're incurring more costs. So we wanted that we are saving more. And when you look at the structure, it has no effect. That if you don't plaster, if you don't do finishing, it will be exposed maybe to rain because it is water resistant and all that stuff. So we don't do finishing because we don't want to communicate that we shall incur more costs. Yes. Okay, so we can move on. So this was our first structure and our prototype. But yes, and then we completed this one first due to that we didn't know that if we don't have pillars on it, it won't collapse. So we had fear that if we don't have these pillars, it might collapse. But when we realized that the pillars are not doing anything to the structure, we completed that one first. Yes, and we didn't have the idea as us. So one guy in Kayunga was basically building such sitting areas, and we had to bring him on ground, and then he showed us how he does that. And then we had to raise from a sitting ground to above the structure. So as you can see, they are just pieces that are joined one after another. Yes. So they have just been plastered because of the organization that is utilizing the space. It required that they are plastered and then have their organization colors. Yeah. Okay, we can move on. So at Jangu International, we basically have living spaces and working spaces. And one of the living spaces is the living room, where we always come in as an organization to watch football, watch music, watch movies and entertainment as a whole family, as we live as one from the beginning and the start. Another thing about the structures that you're seeing around is that the construction of the houses was basically a community engagement. So we didn't bring in labor and people to pay, but we had to engage as a family to basically raise a structure after another. And another unique thing, you have to come in and have a look at this. So in here, when you look at the interior, you can feel the temperature. It has been hot outside, but you can feel the temperature inside.
It's cool, eh?
Yes. So this is another advantage about the bottle houses, that they retain the cold temperature. Yeah.
What is the cylinder made of? Is that cement?
It is sand. Yeah. So another thing that also is in our living room is that when you look at the floor, you will think of what it could be. So our floor here was after one Derek graduated as an engineer at Makerere, but he couldn't find employment. So he resorted to selling chapati and Rolex. But after one incident that the government was doing the road construction, a chapati stall had to be marked that it shouldn't stand near the road. So he had to look for where to go. That is where he landed an opportunity to come and join Jangu International. So when he came, he found these innovative ideas and decided to do something about what practice he went through. So he realized that whenever he went to dispose of the eggshells, they were not decomposing. So they were not deforming, but they were still in the normal shape. So he wanted to go back and look for the eggs, but he couldn't find the eggshells. He started a project which was the Rolex Connect, and he used to sell Rolexes to visitors around here and the community members around. And then he collected the eggshells after some time. He realized he couldn't also dispose them off. He wanted to turn his engineering skills of the construction and turning different ideas into something. And that is where he did this floor out of eggshells, mixing it with plastic polythene, having a waterproof, sustainable floor. So where you see red is that he used the red polythenes. And where you see green, he used green polythenes. To have the terrazzo, you know, but out of eggshells and plastic polythene paper.
What did he use to attach them?
To attach them?
Yeah, like a particle to create a platform.
So the process was that he had to first have the concrete first on the ground, and then later on he had to crush the eggshells after cleaning them thoroughly, crush them into smaller particles, and then get a can, which was a metallic can, and then heat the plastic polythene into a liquid form. And then later pour the eggshells on the floor, separating them with these plastic dividers that you can see that are dividing surface, and then pour that liquid and then smearing around to make the liquid polythene mix with the eggshells. So in the same place, which is Jangu International, we have organizations that have identified community challenges and then developed solutions to curb the challenges. And amongst that is Hastat, that is funded by the Youth Challenge International organization, which is based in Canada. And they're basically looking out for female youth in Uganda and Africa to basically empower them, start up businesses, and then they can provide whatever it takes for them to thrive with those businesses in a way to turn their challenges into something. So they are based here, and youth can apply for their funding, and then they can do business using the startup capital that is provided by the Hastat Foundation. Moving on from our living room to the Hastat office, this is our big hut where we always come in as a community to basically engage every morning. So every morning we come for the morning meeting, which is an activity for the whole organization to come together as a whole family to know how everyone spent their night, since we live in different rooms, and how everyone is planning to spend their day. So we always come in from Monday to Friday, basically set goals on Monday, and then we can hope be accountability partners to each and every one of us to see if you set up a weekly goal from Monday, have you been able to achieve it by the end of Friday? And also, if someone is not feeling fine, how can we be of hope as fellow community members? So the morning meeting happening from 8:30 to 9. And that is when it ends, and everyone has to take their own path to do their personal business. In the same room is where we have the Applied Social Innovation program, which is the first stage of the empowerment program of Jangu International, where youth are unleashed to discover their inner potentials and inner abilities. So it's where they have their sessions, and when you look up there, it is a chart that holds the topics in one session, which is the 7 habits of the highly effective people, which helps one to shift their mindsets and to also challenge their being on an everyday basis. So the first 7 habits of highly effective people, where the first habit is to be proactive, the second one beginning with the end in mind, the third putting first things first, the fourth, which is thinking a win-win, not a lose-win, and also seeking first to understand and then seek to be understood, synergizing and also sharpening the soul. So those habits you see there are basically for the people who want to shift their mindsets and also live a greater life.
So how do people get to join your community? Do they need to sleep here, or they can come from out and be part of the community? I would like to understand that.
So from 2014, it was basically turning the challenges of the orphans into opportunities. But in 2016, we were joined by a group of refugees who asked to join us, and we couldn't say no. And then amongst also the refugees, other community members around also asked to join. So from there, it started not pointing out just orphans, but also marginalized youth from underserved communities. So from there, we are targeting everyone that is interested in turning their challenges into opportunities. Since the unemployment problem is existing everywhere, we want to bring in everyone. So from 2016, we have had Jangu International get away as the mother of the SINA model. And now, SINA, as you've seen it outside there, is serving or is working as an umbrella that the Jangu International model or SINA model is replicated in other countries or other areas to curb the challenge of unemployment. And ever since then, we encourage that if one wants to join, they have to apply online or by referral. So when they apply, they come for scholar selection or interviews, and then we select who is fit for the program. How do we do that? Is that we want to get the ones that are going through challenges and they are willing to turn their challenges into opportunities. In incidences where we can't take you, we refer you to another self-organized space, since we are not now one community. We have Jangu International, we have Chaka, we have in Bidibidi, we have in Kampala, we have in some other communities. So if we don't take you, we refer you to another community that you can also go, as we also leverage on the same empowerment concept. So if one doesn't stand a chance to come here, they can go to another space, and they also have the same opportunities that are also here. And as one joins the organization, they're required to stay in the organization. Oh. Yes.
Okay. So, do you also take on permanently disabled people? Disabled youth? You know, it's hard for them to get employment. So do you also have that? Okay, yes, the application might be there and maybe he applies, but the standards might not take him on easily. So do you give special consideration to the permanently disabled persons?
So as I shared from the first thing, it is challenged youth. So long as one is challenged, they can always stand a chance to come and win. So what we look at is that they are willing to turn their challenges into opportunities. They are willing to dedicate their time to this one goal. So in case they come, we don't look at them as, they are lame. We look at them as challenged youth that are going through different challenges. But the caution has to be that they are willing to dedicate their time. We don't want to have someone who is not really going to work on themselves. They are going to be, yes, I'm lame, I can't do anything. We want someone who has the hope that they will do something later on. Yes.
So this is my last question. You said I have to come, live, and be part of the community. So am I also free to exit at any time and probably carry on the ideas I've learned from here in another place?
So we always have exit or transition periods or transition stages. So from the applied social innovation, which takes 3 months, we always have a holiday of 2 weeks. And that is where evaluation happens, which is self-evaluation. So after going through the training of 3 months, they have discovered their abilities and potentials. They can either decide to come back or not come back, which is free for us. So we always give them certificates that they can present in case they want to go and still stay in the same world of applying for jobs. And
do you follow up on those? Okay, on the people who come here and learn their skills, do you follow up on them?
So basically, we don't have that thing that specifically is to track their progress outside there, but we want to live as an ecosystem. So when they are here, they have to make friends, they have to look out for who and who. And when they go out, they can always come back. We are a welcoming community. So when they go, we don't say don't come back. They can always come back any other day and then get anything they can get.
Okay.
So as one of the uniquest structures in the community, we have the car house, which is also a living and working space. So why we have it in a car shape is that the volunteer who fundraised to have it constructed had an ice cream business back home in the Netherlands, and it has cars that distribute ice cream. So he wanted to design it in that ice cream car format. That's why when you look up, it has ice cream also.
Strawberry.
Yeah. Yeah. So the challenge that he realized was that all the working spaces we had around were basically over time inconvenienced by other people. So you would get into a room and then there are other people and they're doing different stuff. So if one wanted to have a Zoom meeting, a Zoom call or a conference call, they would be inconvenienced by others who are utilizing the same space. So it required that we have a space that is specifically for that. If someone wants to have that meeting in a silent room, they can utilize the car house. And also pointing out our library, which is aided by the book aid, where scholars can always come in and get books to basically find out information that was written down or that is written down to better their research and also increase on their information and data. And we're cohabiting. It is okay. We bring in 18 and above, and
They come with their family.
yeah, they can come with their families. Yeah. So over down there, it is the eco brick houses that are currently living spaces, but also having our sick bay here, where scholars can come for treatment and also consult the nurse. So the other ones are utilized by our partners who are facilitators, mentors, and also helping the organization reach to the goal. So partners can come and stay with their families, but also they can decide to leave and then find their families outside. But also this side here, we have our ICT hub that has computers, Wi-Fi, to also bring in the web to facilitate that scholars can do research on the internet and to also look out for what is on the web. Yes. And lastly, from this side, we have the agroforestry. So the agroforestry is where we plant trees along with crops. After realizing that individuals in Uganda and maybe Africa, when they are doing farming, they either do only trees or do only crops. So those that do only crops say that I can't plant a tree because I won't feed on it and it takes long to grow. And over time they end up complaining that the seasons are changing, yet they are not contributing to the climate to keep it favorable. So and then we want to incorporate it that one can still plant a tree along with the crop, and then they can do harvesting as a tree contributes to the rain formation and to also the climate as a whole. So we are doing this in a way that we distribute and give out trees to communities and also seeds. So they can plant trees along with crops. And then we have also incorporated looking at also if one plants a tree with a crop, if this tree grows, they have to cut it maybe for construction. So we have brought in a tree species which is the bamboo, and we look at it that if one cuts it to use it for anything, construction and any other activity, it can still regenerate. So one does not affect the environment by cutting down a bamboo tree. We've had beans, we have fruits, mangoes, so many fruits. So a challenge that we have with our land is that when it rains, the water flows to the valley. So these trees here don't get enough water, it just runs off. So that is the same challenge with the bamboo, that they would have gone faster, but since they don't, all the nutrients end up in the valley down there. So that's why when you look down, the trees down there are a bit healthier than these ones. Jangu International is a space that empowers marginalized youth to turn their challenges into opportunities through developing ideas and turning the ideas into social businesses.
We just heard from him talking about Sina, the home of Sina, right?
Yes.
And then where they are utilizing a space and then bringing on board innovative ways to creatively impact the lives of vulnerable people in communities. This is inspiring. Stay tuned and don't forget to follow us on all our social media pages. It was your one and only girl, Betty Saibuntu. Catch you on the next episode. And be inspired with stories from Africa!
I hope you are inspired because we are. Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe to all our social media channels. It's displayed on the screen, and don't forget to press that notification bell to receive updates when they come by. It's Visa.